In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to add in Polypad and actually use some of the authoring mode features to build kind of a custom screen. And what do I mean by this? I will show you an example. Let's hop over here real quick. If you're not familiar with Polypad, it is every digital manipulative. We have some free offerings with Polypad, but you can build or create anything that you want to with Polypad for students to interact with different types of manipulatives. So for example, you can have number bars if you want to out for students for them to go and build things, or number frames. You could have number lines, number cards. You can have prime factor circles if you want them out for students, or all sorts of other things, including dice, coins, spinners, anything that you want them to use and to kind of have these manipulatives on screen for them. One of the things we often hear from teachers is, I don't want all these things. I just want certain things to use for students. And that is why there's authoring mode with Polypad. And so that's going to allow you to build something like this, where you just have an equation on the screen where students can only interact with the pieces you put out there for them. For instance, we could take this, we can negate it, we can actually solve something here and create a balanced situation if I pull 10 and a couple of these hearts off, and then even have an input box where students drop information on there. So there's lots of different uses for authoring mode, totally up to you how do you use it, but it allows you to limit what students have on the screen so they're just working with the types of interactions you want them to have happen. So let's build something like this. Let's create something like this. And unlike the other ones, we're not going to do anything with computation layer. This is just simply within the authoring mode of Polypad itself. So I'm going to hop over back to my home screen on Amplify Classroom. Like always, I'm going to go in to Activity Builder, click My Stuff, and I'm going to create an activity here. And I'm just going to call this one Polypad. And we're going to build something. So let's hop in here. Let's create something. Again, of course, I can build whatever I want to. There's lots of different things you can do with Polypad and limiting what students have on the screen. But I'm going to come down here, and here is Polypad on the bottom, and I can do a full screen or partial screen Polypad when I click on it. I'm going to go ahead and do a full screen Polypad. And notice when I do that, I've got all this stuff on the screen. I've got all these things students can choose from, all these different things that I can pull out or students can pull out to use. We have drawing tools and text tools and all this kind of stuff, but I don't want all that on the screen. I just want the limited things for the interaction that I want students to have or the experience I want students to have. So let's limit those and let's put an input box so that they can get some feedback. So to enter into authoring mode, it is this gear right here. So if I click the gear, notice we've got something called authoring mode. We click this button and suddenly I'm inside authoring mode. And notice I've got all these different toggles and all these different checks. This is what allows you to turn stuff off or on. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn some stuff off. I don't want students to mess around with any of the inputs. I don't want them drawing and writing equations or anything. Or drawing colors. I don't want any of that. I'm just going to get rid of all those construction tools so they don't have access to it. And I'm going to toggle a few things over here. First thing, I'm going to get rid of the sidebar so they can't pull anything additional out and the sidebar open. I do like enabling reset so they can start back over if they need to. And I do like the undo. And I'm going to turn off pinch and pan here as well. The other things I like to turn off is I don't really love them being able to necessarily copy and paste or delete tiles. And I'm going to turn off the music tools because I don't want them playing any sound effects right now. Of course, you can leave those on if you want to, but I'm going to leave everything else there. And then I'm going to come over to this one, this kind of shape button over here right next to the gear. And now I'm just going to pull out what I want students to use. And I'm going to make that kind of equation example that I had there before. And so if I scroll down, you notice these are all turned off. If you click on them, that turns them back on for students, but everything is turned off. So I'm just going to get out what I want. So I'm going to come down here to algebra. I'm going to pull out a balance scale because I'm going to want students to kind of solve an equation, play with a balance scale here. I'm going to pull out a heart and notice it kind of changes that balance scale. It's unbalanced. Let's pull out a number card here and let's rebalance the scale. So notice now the heart is up higher, the 5 is down lower, which when the default is just 1 for anything. But if I hit this middle thing right here and with the inequality and I hit balance, Now it's going to make a heart worth the value of 5. And now I can build out a little equation here. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to add, I don't know, let's add a 10 here to make this 15. Let's add 3 more here to make this 18. And then over here, I'm going to put a 3. And then I'm just going to copy a couple more hearts. So there's 1. And let's put 1 more here on the screen. So now I have 3 hearts. I've got the number 3. I've got 18. I love it. It's beautiful. And the only other thing I'm going to add is as students interacting, I want them to get some feedback and response. So I'm going to come down here at the bottom under authoring tools, and there's an input box. And I'm going to drag that input box out, and I'm just going to kind of set it right over here to the side. And with that input box, when I click on it, I can set the value of the solution. So now I can create whatever value. And of course, remember when we set this one up, we said the hearts were worth 5. So I'm going to put 5, which means when the student inputs and solves it and puts the value of 5, they'll get that beautiful confetti drop that we got there. So I think I've got everything I want. I think it looks good. I turned on the authoring tools. I only pulled out the things I want students to interact with. I've got an input one there. I like it. Let's preview it and see if it works. So let's try it out. So we're on our blank space on our canvas. Notice they don't have anything over here they can pull out. Notice they just have the reset and the undo over here. I like it. And so now let's see, I can drag this over. I can make this a -3 and combine it with the 18 to balance like that. I can split and use the tools here, and I can pull this 10 off. I can pull the 2 hearts off and see, you know what, a heart is worth the value of 5. And as a student, I can plug it in and check, and I should get that beautiful confetti to drop using my authoring tools. So that was just a quick look. There's so many different things you can do. I would highly encourage you to go into Polypad. There's a bunch of other support too that we have on the Amplified Classroom about Polypad, but it's such a great place. You turn on authoring, pull out the tools that you want, put that input box that gives students feedback, and really create a dynamic interaction for students. And I will tell you, we did this full screen. At any point, you can convert to a partial screen and pull out something else. So you can pull beside it some instructions like solve the equation or whatever else, or put in a math input or a free response and have students explain, solve the equation and explain what you did. So now not only do we have Polypad here, we've got some dynamic components here too. And notice it's the same situation. Students can solve it. They can input their value of 5, get that beautiful confetti to drop, all within that one screen inside of Activity Builder.